Hello. So today it's now become a federal holiday, but before it was only a Texas holiday, and that is Juneteenth. So Juneteenth is June 19th. So you're thinking, well, how would you sign that teenth, right? Well, for ASL, you would just spell June, June, 19th. This is the number 9, and when you shake it, or this, it's 19th. I would do 19th. So June 19th instead of Juneteenth, right? Because it confuses people, and it really doesn't make any sense when you just do the teenth part. So it's June, spelling it June, 19th, Juneteenth. And you're thinking, really, what is that? So before it became a federal holiday, it was a Texas. This is a X and the shape of a 7. This was a Texas only holiday. And why, you're asking? Because June 19th, 1865. So you see, remember 1865. That is when there was a man who arrived in Galveston. It's a G hand shape, and on the chin, Galveston, Texas. He arrived, and he had the letter, the official, which is boss or something like that, the official letter or proclamation that said that the slaves are free. Now, the slaves were free before that time. And so, they printed it out, or, word of mouth. And you wouldn't use this because this is gossip. You could say, they was informing, people were informing, or they printed it and posted it. They had it in the newspaper that the slaves were free, emancipation. So that is what this was. And so Texas was the last state in the South to learn, or in the Confederacy. So it was the last state in the Confederacy. So this is the South. I do the South from Florida on my right all the way to Texas. So I do South, and it does have kind of a curve to it if you look at the map. And so if I'm going to do Confederacy, I do the same thing with the C, Confederacy. So that is when the last state in the Confederacy learned that the slaves were free, because they were telling and proclaiming. You can tell, you can proclaim, you can inform that the slaves were free. So they had to go from state to state to tell them, or they printed it or whatever. And so Texas was the last state to learn the information. And that was the day that the man arrived on a boat in Galveston, and he was telling it, was proclaiming it. And so then it just kind of rippled, right? So that was the day that he arrived. So that's why it is celebrated. And it was normally only a Texas holiday. It was celebrated sometimes, in the whole state, but I would say mostly in the Galveston area, because that's where he arrived. But now it's become a national holiday. So it wasn't the day that the slaves were free. That was the day that the last state found out that they were free. So, yes, it is an emancipation, which is still free. You can use what word, but you're going to use that gloss or an ASL, so you can say F hand shapes were free. And they found, they're not owned anymore. And then there was more complications after that. But that is what the day is. And so some people will have a parade. Remember, we already did parade before. They do a parade, or sometimes they do different celebrations. I have not gone to one because I didn't want to interfere. It was their holiday. It was their day to celebrate it the way they want, without interference from white people. So or anyone who actually owns slaves. But So I just wanted to kind of tell y'all, how would you sign that? Because you're thinking teenth, and they're going, and deaf people would say, because I've asked some black deaf people, and again, and for deaf people, black is not offensive. It's just a statement of fact, right? So the black people, I would ask them, and they say, oh, June 19th. So they actually do the day. There's not, if you did teenth, they probably wouldn't catch it, but they'll catch 19th. So anyway, practice and use it with your friends, whether they're deaf or they're hearing. Oh, I almost forgot. There was someone that was deaf who wanted to make sure that this was corrected. Remember I said that I do deaf with the mouth and then the ear, and I've seen people do ear to the mouth, and a deaf man was saying, no, don't do from the ear to the mouth, and it is mouth to the ear. Kind of like salt and pepper. You know, you don't say pepper and salt. You usually say salt and pepper. So it is from the mouth to the ear. And that was from a deaf person who has become an educator. And so those are the people that I will follow or I trust, because they are in charge of their own language. So I will, from now on, make sure that say, oh, it doesn't matter if you do deaf or deaf. It actually, it is important. It does matter. So it is from the mouth and to the ear. Anyway, remember to hit the like so you'll have your algorithm on your computer. Practice, have fun, and I will see you later. Bye.